What if it's not about a building? What if it's not about stained glass or steeples? What if it's about just Jesus?
All right, this one's a little bit different. We've got a guest on with us today, Zach, and we're so glad you're here. Man, usually during the week I pray about what we're going to talk about, and God always gives me something. Sometimes it's not what we go with, but I always get something. This week, Zach, knowing you were coming on, I really didn't know what we're going to talk about, and I prayed about it, and I never got any answers. But today, I got just a little bit of peace, and it came over me, and he said, I'm not giving you the answers. I've told Zach what we're talking about today. So I hope you brought something with you, because I got nothing.
No pressure.
Yeah, none at all.
When we talked about you coming on, I don't know exactly what I thought you would bring, but I know you got something to bring, and I know that you and Corey go way back. I don't really know anything, but I feel like you've got a story to share or something that you want to bring to light here, and I could be wrong.
Well, put me on the spot like that.
No pressure.
I mean, we can riff and go on about anything. I've got such a, for me, just such a unique story in all this, and it's basically like an underdog story for me. Kinda, it's just really weird to explain. I'm kind of like an in and an out. So I grew up in the church my entire life. I guess the best way.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah. The best way to put it, though, just to get it out there, is how Corey says it. I've been in religion. I've sat there. I'm 31, and I feel like I've just kind of sat there with just a bird-eyes view and haven't really learned anything until, I got invited here by my dad to Just Jesus when he told me you were preaching there. And
Wow.
That's been the big change. I've tried over the years. I've witnessed it myself. But
Well, let's talk about that change. What do you mean there's a change? Because you know a little bit about my story, Savannah's story. We don't come from religion.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the
Yeah.
only couple of churches I've attended since being a Christian is Just Jesus and a few other ones. But your story is completely different than that, right?
yeah,
I'm getting pumped about this.
it's completely different.
I'm excited.
So let's man, and I'm not here trying to interview you. It just kind of happened
no.
that way. But like, without downing any church, I don't want to do that. But like, what'd you come from to what made Just Jesus appealing?
So, we gotta have a lot of time. I got a long story. Before Just Jesus, I was kind of feeling stuff out with my wife. I haven't been to consistently to a church in, I'd say, over a decade. It's been a long time. And then when I moved up here and met my wife, and we started, we had a kid, I finally got that calling, like, it's time to come home.
Yeah.
And I did that with the previous church and started it a little bit, and then it just kind of fell off. And my wife and I, we were looking, searching. I kind of kept adamant about it, kind of kept looking a little bit. And Dad calls me. He goes, "Hey, we're at Just Jesus. Corey's here. Why don't you come by?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, Corey's there? Yeah, I'll come by for sure. Absolutely, I'll give it a shot."
Corey, and you've seen it. I mean, probably yourself and many other people. But I've heard that this stuff comes in seasons. So, have you heard that before?
No.
Yeah, it's and I didn't realize seasons is actually a big term in the Christian world, right?
Seriously?
I'm drawing a blank
Wait,
on that
is it
one
not?
myself.
Well,
I've heard it like in the last 3 weeks. TikTok has been covered up with seasons of Christianity. Oh, this is my season. This season. This season.
Is it like the eras? This is
Well,
my
So
era.
yeah.
well, it's like more of you're right. And
Thank
yes, a lot of
That
people,
validation.
a lot of people talk about seasons of, this is my season of growth.
That's what I'm talking about.
This
Yep.
is my season of maturing. this is my season that I'm about to bust out.
Yeah,
You know,
that's it.
prosper, man. I found it. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Now it's time. This is the season. So yes, you hear that quite often.
I don't know that I've ever heard it in my life until it came along with Christianity. Like, oh, this is my season with Jesus. I'm diving in, like
And
not like fall and summer, but
And I don't know if it's like more of a word there that where we came from, church.
I wouldn't say it would, but I tell you what, the season thing would definitely describe my perspective.
that's what. As soon as you started talking, I was like, that's it.
That's accurate. That's probably a good way to put it, but definitely yes.
Yeah.
Is
not
that
something
pretty
that came from that.
common with, a longtime Christian? Like you all grew up in it. Do you feel like that you do kind of have those ebbs and flows where you're not as dedicated? Or is it something like when we met you, we just kind of got these fires and you just, we're willing to do whatever and stick with it and do that?
I think that it's just according to what you're a part of, because there is such a just helter-skelterness about the church. And if you're a Pentecostal, if you're Baptist, if you're more of the contemporary, and it's just according to all that.
Yeah, it definitely can go one of two ways.
Yeah,
For sure.
and lots of people are in boxes. None of the, hey, we're here to save souls and to lift up the name of Jesus and show the world the light. And a lot of people are more about the traditions of the things that, what we came out of or what my grandparents did before me and what my dad, they did. And now I'm doing that. And it's more of that thing. And as far as I go, I'm not about any of that. Like, if it worked and we can continue that and that wins souls, then I'm great. But when we walked away from everything to just Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
I believe when you tap in to what God really wants and he's peeled back all the layers and you're doing the thing, I think that's why we connect and the fire comes and the excitement comes, because it's suddenly not about what you're wearing.
Yes.
It's suddenly not about the boxes of religion that you're going to and fro and over and the same monotony and all of that. It's that you tapped in to the real fire of God and you're ready to run.
So, Zach, did you ever? So it sounds like you haven't been in over a decade until you started back. So, 20 and under, you were a kid. Did you ever feel that fire as a child, or were you there because your parents made you go?
I've always wanted to go.
Okay.
It's even though I've went my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
that was instilled to me that I need to go. I've
Okay.
always felt that calling to go.
Mm-hmm.
Even in high school, living with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
not a person who would go, but I
Mhm.
always felt that need to go. And I would say I went on my way to make sure I went, not consistently,
Mm-hmm.
until I'd say my senior year, I think, is when it got a little bit more serious.
Okay.
And then it just fluttered on by at some point.
You entered a different season.
Yeah, pretty much.
I see what you did there. I like that. Yeah.
It fluttered on by
Yeah.
and he just kind of stayed still.
Yeah. It never really went from there. I mean, and it might sound crazy. I've been
Nothing sounds
two,
crazy in
three.
here.
I've been baptized 3 different times.
Well, is
I
that
think that-
through the different seasons you just felt
Yeah.
the need to redo it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm all about some seasons
I
now.
know. But
Yeah.
I can see that.
Well-
I feel like you need a refresher sometimes, like a fresh start.
That's what it felt like I needed every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think I necessarily needed it. Once saved, always saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But for me to feel like I could start,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I felt like I needed.
Switch
Yeah.
gears just a hair. One thing I notice with everybody that comes in our church is they always show up dressed to the nines. You know, let me dress for church.
Yeah.
And then slowly as they continue on, like you can see that they start feeling the vibe and feeling the pressures aren't there. So they start dressing down, they start getting comfortable. And that's what it's all about. We don't want you to have to dress up. We don't care how many dress clothes you have. We just want you to come to church and
Yeah.
be you, be comfortable.
Unless
Zach,
you
you
won't.
spoke about that at church one day, and I thought that was
Absolutely.
super cool.
It's
That's
it's
fire.
a hard thing to get past, and truthfully, if my clothes weren't work clothes 24/7, I would look dapper most of the time.
Yeah.
But
I know I like to look nice. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of, you know,
I was
So-
gonna say unless you want to dress up, and that's fine.
Of course,
Yeah.
I go through seasons of it. You know, I come in dressed up a couple.
Yeah. Or if you've sold 30 million Bibles. That's,
Oh,
Well-
hey, everybody's
That's a
got
download.
their thing, man.
that's a little
everybody's
DL
got their
joke.
thing. But, you know, I feel like every time you're dressed up, I'm not dressed up. And then I'm dressed up and I pick him up and I'm like,
Yeah.
we can never get on the same page there. But it's okay to do whatever you want to do.
You should just call each other and set it up.
get in sync,
Yeah.
I know.
sync in the seasons.
Sync in the seasons. Oh man.
Yeah.
We're coming on. That might be a t-shirt. That'd be good.
That'd be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sync in the seasons.
Yeah.
But when we talk
Sure.
about those things, Zach, like things that might seem abnormal when you came to just Jesus, I'm sure you got a whole list of them, right? Things that are just different.
No.
Okay, well, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. I
It's
would've
not
thought
a
that it
bad
would.
thing at all. I through my life, I've gone out to different churches, mainly denominational or non-denominational.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It might be rebellious a little bit.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, you can definitely use that word from where we came from.
At least that's what it felt like when I would go. But
really,
it
I
always
would just
felt,
say getting out of the box.
yeah, it felt a little bit more homey. And when I walked into Just Jesus, it felt more like home. It's hard for me, and has been hard for me to call somewhere home church wise. I've been very particular when it comes to hearing the word and how it's preached,
Mm.
because I've always heard it one certain way, and I've always had my favorites on how I've liked to hear it and how it's output.
Mm-hmm.
But walking in, and especially with my family, it fit perfectly. Because I felt like it's a good place for me to start
Mhm.
instead of being in religion, to finally moving forward in my belief and growing, learning. As at that, the biggest part for me is learning and growing.
I love that.
Because I need it most definitely. My wife and for my kids, really, especially the learning for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be able to put them in a place where they're going to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I felt.
And that was one of the big things when we started the
Good.
church was, and I always felt uncomfortable going to churches. Like, I want my kids with me. And I know that's a mixed bag. Everybody likes something different, but man, I want to know what they're hearing. I want to be able to talk about it at home. I don't want to rely on someone else teaching the kids just literally God knows what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's always been big to me. And that's one thing that we do that I know people push against.
Yeah.
And I really feel like we're doing it for a reason until we can build a team strong enough with the same morals and same
Mm-hmm.
thought process and same direction. And I feel like that's when we can expand, and that's when God's going to allow us to do that.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think your kids, when they see you invested and you learning and growing, they want to emulate that.
Mhm.
They want to do the same thing. You know, we may not have a children's ministry or any of that stuff just yet. I mean, that's going to be in, you know, on down the road, but it's nice to I sit in the back to look around. We have a little kids area, but even when they're back there, they're still paying attention to what you're saying, because when Corey asked them, you know, to say Jesus or say this or that, all those little kids back there are saying those words that you're asking everybody else to say. So they're paying attention.
That's
so it's pretty
awesome.
neat to watch.
And you know, we've talked about this. There's something very beautiful about having the kids with us.
Yeah.
They're now if they're younger, I mean, I understand that. You know, maybe one day down the road we would get to where we would have a children's ministry, but there's something powerful about. I believe that when Jesus came along and he went into houses teaching, or if he's just standing teaching out in the street, the kids didn't go off and separate so somebody else could, you know, teach them.
Yeah.
They were all there together in the house, and they may have been playing. They may have been running around. But like Savannah said, if they get one piece of the conversation, one word that might stick with them, that makes the biggest difference. And say they get a couple things from each service, each Sunday, I think there's something so powerful about that. And I love it. I love it that they hear when we scream Jesus, there's not another name, there's not another thing that would be more important for them to hear.
All right, I got a mixed bag on this one, and I know it's going to ruffle some feathers, but
on us or on the church?
Probably you and everybody. I think sometimes that's just my MO.
You've never ruffled my feathers.
Man, but you talk about indoctrination.
I'm joking.
Of course, right? I want to talk about indoctrination just a hair, because I didn't come from a level of being indoctrinated. My parents weren't super religious. We didn't grow up in churches. I found God on my own.
I love it.
And my kids were older before they were introduced to Jesus. I know they made a conscious decision to be Christians. But with little kids and you're raising them up in the church, how do you make sure that they build a true relationship with God that's not just, you know, oh, my dad makes me come here, I show up. I mean, Zach, you obviously did it. Corey, you did it. Was there a moment that you turn and you say, this is it? This is my time to actually build that relationship? Or does it just happen because you hear Jesus being yelled?
It is the same way with people in the world, adults. You know, we're all children. God calls us children. You could be 80 years old and still be called a child of God. There's a reason for that, because God wants us. People don't think about this, but there are more seasoned.
I love it. We found the title.
There are more seasoned people in the world that have found Jesus and are willing to display what praise looks like, what the word that they can give, the word that they can pray aloud. Those things are things that if a child can watch and see, mom, dad, or if they're an actual adult and they see people praising, they see people praying, they can hear the word of God.
But do you recall the time that you actually made that relationship with God?
When I called on Jesus?
Of course. I mean, like, was it a distinct change? Zach, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Was there a distinct change? You remember that time?
Absolutely.
It went from just showing up to actually having a connection?
My whole life, I think it's beautiful. I think it's just like muscle memory. Like, the more you go into this setting and you see these people praising and you see this word coming out and you see these people fellowship and you hear these people, you know, doing all of these things to get closer to God. I think at first you're just there. You're in a beautiful,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Godly environment that you don't realize. You don't realize that you're getting saturated by the grace of God, by the word of God, by the teachings that are coming through seasoned believers. And it's on and on and on.
I'm going to get tickled every time you say that.
Well, I'm going to keep saying it. But yes, and then I loved it. I got to the place to where, you know, I was laying under the pews at one point,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember bits and pieces of hearing my dad pray, seeing my dad open the little storefront building of the church because he was the head deacon. And he would open it first and he would be the last to leave every church service. And it's just amazing. I remember ladies dancing under the power of God. And there was so many things that you see, you hear shouting, you hear praising, you hear, yes, I said that. Savannah's face.
And I think you're exactly right. That's what you want. You want that moment. There's a connection and a turn. But I think it's possible that kids go their whole life and grow up and never feel that difference other than just, oh, this is what I do.
I didn't have a choice. When I was in my home, and I agree with this 1000%, when I was at home, no matter how old, my dad would come in every church service morning, Sunday morning, Wednesday. Get up. You're going to church. That wasn't.
But I think you might be missing what I'm asking.
No, I'm not finished.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that was part of it. You have to make sure the kid is in there and going and around it.
Step one, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, probably when I became a teenager, it started feeling like, hey, this is not their journey. This is my journey.
Okay. That's it.
And I'm starting to get my own relationship with God. And I start talking to God. But first, I have to learn that I must ask Jesus into my heart. And I did that not until I was 17 years old. And once I did that, but I'd been in it all my life, and I knew and felt that I had a relationship with him just because I'd been in it. But then it came to the place to where, but have you ever called Jesus into your heart? You don't just get into Jesus because you go to a church building.
And that's exactly my whole point. So you do get it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Zach?
I wish you trusted me more.
I'm just giving you a hard time. It's that season, you know? All right, Zach. Sorry, man.
It's all right.
But the same question. I think anyone with that kind of experience that grew up in a church, man, it's such an interesting facet for me just to hear your guys' side and that turn.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to agree with Corey. Basically on the turn, I didn't really feel it until I was 16, 17 years old. And then it really dawned on me, this, like Corey said, this is my race to run. It's my time now. I've got to take these reins and go. I think I was a little bit different though. I can't really tell you much of actually being in the church except for watching family members jump, praise, shout.
Jump.
Absolutely. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I've had a hand laid on me and pass out and not be able to move. Just be on the floor and just be absolutely still and try to move, and I'm not going nowhere until I felt something. And then once I felt something, it just moved past over me.
Really?
But yes.
Wow.
We were in Ohio.
I've laid my hands on people preaching and revivals and stuff and them pass out, but it's crazy that you say it happened to me.
Yeah. It was an experience.
Yeah.
You guys talking about your experiences. Corey, I'm going to ask you first, and I'm going to come to you, Zach, but would you do anything different with your kids knowing how your experience went as a child growing up in the church?
Good question.
Right now?
Of course, yeah, right now. I mean, shucks, you say right now, you've got one kid that's 4, one that's 6, and one that's 13. I mean, you've got the whole gambit there, so.
I think that's a lot of pressure as a parent, too, like you all are talking about, to find the right church with the right season. I needed to get in on it. But to choose that, because that's, I feel like that could make or break their their walk with Christ, right?
Do they make
I
that
believe it
turn, you
does.
know?
Yeah, I mean
So-
that's a lot of pressure as a parent.
So there's nothing I would change.
What do you give them guidance? Do you talk them through it? Or like as a parent, how do you help your child like make sure they make that turn? Make sure they make that
I just
relationship.
make sure that wherever I go, that has to do with church, where the word is, where I feel the power of God is going to be, even though the power is in us. There is something very important that people just don't understand. And I've said it maybe, but there's a physical feeling we've talked about that you know that the Spirit comes over you. Yes, it's in you, but there are times that it is a surging of the Spirit that comes on you from your head to your feet, that literally, if you know how, if you know what it is, then you can react to it in such a way in the church, in your life, in your everyday walk. You know what I'm talking about. And the thing is that the most important thing that I think our children should know more than anything else is what that is and what that feels like. And it goes past, it's a more maturing step past just asking Jesus into our lives. And it's another equipping of the Spirit that you just get acquainted with, and you know that you can be in a room all by yourself and God can deal with you, and you can feel that presence in a physical way. And the Bible has talked about it many times, even in the Old Testament, talking about back in Solomon's temple when the power was so strong that the sanctuary or the temple was filled with smoke. And so much so that they could not even come in, and the priest would have to stay outside. That is more important to me for my children to understand what that is and what that feels like and how to adapt to that more than anything else in the world.
And they don't put an age on that. There's not a timeline that says this happens at this age.
Absolutely.
So are you talking about maybe just trying to put them in those situations where
Yes.
they can
Yes.
they can feel that?
Yes, just like you would in the gym, just like you would say, "Hey man, maybe Milo will go to the gym with me and maybe she'll like it and maybe she would continue doing it." The bike riding, it's the same thing in a spiritual setting where we are literally coming into a place of worship.
Mm-hmm.
You do that, you just get your kids there. It's not about just only about just, telling them about Jesus and this sort of thing. Once you get Jesus, once you get baptized, you are a candidate to begin to start feeling and being acquainted with that feeling.
I feel like when and I think y'all might have seen it when Rhett's, he'll throw his hand up.
He does, yes.
And I'm pretty sure when we put our heads down to pray, he throws his hand up.
Every
and
single time I see him do it.
We will have kind of like a back and forth when we go home. And I kind of feel like that's a start. It might not be.
You're on my side. That's good.
It might not be something that's substantial.
You're in the right season.
But I think it's a good start for the kids to at least feel something, at least give a sign,
Do something.
do something.
Yeah.
The most important thing through all of this is whether you have older kids, younger kids, is that you find a place that you are comfortable with, you're happy with, that you feel like you can grow and that your kids can grow and you can learn.
Absolutely.
Because if you're in the wrong place, no one's going to benefit from that.
Would you do anything different from what you guys did with your kids?
Well, a little bit. It's kind of hard to say because I've not been the best example.
I mean, shucks, none of us have, right? Yeah.
It's I'll speak on this. I just know where I want to set the example for them and try to lead them in the right direction. And we only have a small window of time to do that.
Man, that's right.
Mhm.
And I just look at it as I'm here growing. I'm going to try to help them grow with me for as
Yeah.
long as I've got them. And then from there, it's their choice. And I hope at the end of the day, I've planted the right seed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of, and I think that's kind of how I was raised. And it stuck. It worked.
At what point in your relationship with God did you actually have that turning point? Was it as a teenager, you said?
Yeah, it was a teenager. But I mean, truth be told, as everybody could see, it didn't last long. But it was when I seen my life turn for the better. I mean, I've witnessed it multiple times with my fight. That when I'm within Him, my life is way better
Man, that speaks
than
there.
when
Yeah.
I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
and that has been my battle.
Yeah.
You've seen both sides.
Yes, I have seen and lived both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to finally not live that anymore. No more seasons. I'm gonna be stuck in
Seasons
this
are over.
one season.
If you've never done anything else, the most beautiful thing you could ever do, as long as you see it that way, as long as you believe it that way, and what is going on within those walls is good to you, it's bringing truth. You feel the true God and His presence in that place, and you know they are about winning souls and introducing people to Jesus. And they are baptizing, and they are adding to the body. There is nothing greater. There's nothing stronger. There's nothing more impactful that you can do as a parent, a friend, an acquaintance that is a believer, to bring your children to the house of God and let them experience it and be in it, and don't be anything other than consistent. Even when you feel weak, even when you don't feel like it, what you're doing for that child's life, you are molding and sculpting them with the grace of God and the help of God. And that is exactly what God asked for. Train them up in the way they should go. And sometimes you don't always need words to do that. You just put them where it's happening, where the fire is, where the word is, where the truth is, where the fellowship is, where the nourishment is, and God will do the rest. Be blessed.